talking with Sergeant Carter this morning on the Armed Forces Day in Allendale. Sergeant Carter, you want to give me a little background on your service experience?
Yes, sir. I'd like to give you a background on my service experience. I started out back in 1950. I went to Korea. I served in the 40th Infantry Division. Left the 40th Infantry Division. I went into the 3rd Infantry Division, Tank Battalion. I left there, came back to the United States. When I came back to the United States, I served at Fort Virginia. I served there for a couple of years. I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky. I served there for a couple of years. Came back, went back to Korea, served there at the 7th Infantry Division. I served in the 7th Infantry Division for a year and so forth. Came back, went back to Fort Gordon, Georgia, stayed there a couple of years, went back to Korea, and then I returned back to the United States. From there, I went to Vietnam in 1967, served in Tet Offense, stayed there for a year, came back, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Once I left Fort Jackson, South Carolina, I went back to Vietnam. I served with the 9th Replacement Company as a first sergeant there.
So you had two tour of duty in Vietnam?
Two tour of duty in Vietnam.
How many years you spent in the
22 years I spent in the military service.
What does this day mean to you, Armed Forces Day?
The day means a great day for all of us as military personnel, retirees, as well as those that have been into Saudi Arabia. And this gives us a pleasure to show our strength and show our courage, how we love our country and give our most blessing to our country.
Thank you, Sergeant Carter, and may God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm here this morning talking with Sergeant Brunson, who served in the United States Army for many years. Sergeant Brunson, what does this day mean to your Armed Forces Day?
It means a lot, brings a lot of memories back from me from the time I served in the service.
Would you mind stating some of your experience in the military?
Well, I entered the service in 1943. I served in France, Germany. I served in Iran conflict, 2 trips to Vietnam.
You're a retired military personnel?
I retired in the 30th of June of 1971.
How many years of service you?
25 years of service.
25. Of all of your military experience, is there any one thing that stands out, or 2 or 3 things that stand out in your career?
There are one that I experienced in my time in the service. In the service, as a young man, that caused me to be the man that I was. I learned a lot while I was in the service.
Well, what about your experience in Korea and Vietnam?
It was very horrible.
Okay. What type of duty you had?
I was with the Long Band Division over there. At Long Band, I was Operations Sergeant of Long Band in Vietnam, my second trip.
I understand that now you're in the Veteran of Foreign War?
I'm in the Veteran of Foreign War. We was organized in 86. I'm the quartermaster, Post 7607.
Now, if you got anything, a message to say to the young people of today, what would that message be?
My message to the young men today, when they finish high school, to enter the service, which would help them continue their education and make something out of themselves.
Thank you, Sergeant Brunson. May God bless you.
Thank you, Mike.
No, man, no. Put the door back in here.
Maybe they're going to be...
No, don't put me on. All right.
Well, you're catching most of them anyway. Huh? Let's tell the mayor, he's catching most of them anyway. Hey, Jackie, Boo Bear.
Hey, Jim.
There.
Hey, how you doing? David?
Hey, Dan. Hey, Cal.
Doing Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the mother of all celebrations. Glad to have such a big crowd. I know you're proud of the efforts put on by the Allendale Downtown Development Association, led by Miss Georgia Quinlan. Of course, you've been entertained royally by the Allendale Fairfax High School Band. We've got our honored guest here this afternoon or this morning, and I got a letter to read from Governor Carroll Campbell. And before I read the letter from Governor Carroll Campbell, I think we've got another letter to read here from General Marchant. Could I have Chaplain Fulmer come forward, please? Chaplain Fulmer will read the letter for General Marchant, who could not be here today.
Thank you. Good morning, and I'd like to say welcome home to our troops. Appreciate this opportunity to be here. General Marchant regrets that he's unable to be present today, but I do have a letter and some other items that I'd like to share with you from our Adjutant General. I join all the good citizens of Allendale and the Allendale community in our pride in and gratitude for the 265th and 264th of the South Carolina Army National Guard. I would like nothing better than to be there on May 18 and help welcome you back home, and also try to thank you for all that you have done for us. Unfortunately for me, I will be attending the annual meeting of our Adjutants General Association of the United States in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Again, my appreciation for all that the Allendale community has and is doing for our National Guard people, and with my very best good wishes to you and yours, I am sincerely T. Eston Marchant, Major General, South Carolina Army National Guard, the Adjutant General. Also, I have to present today, and I'd like to ask Miss Georgia Quinlan if she would receive this honor. I'd like to read it to you first. It's a proclamation. Whereas the National Guard has existed in this country since before the American Revolution, and whereas the leadership of this nation has seen the value of peace through strength in maintaining a strong National Guard, and whereas units and soldiers of the National Guard are called upon to respond to national and state emergencies, whereas the community of Allendale in the state of South Carolina, the United States of America, in a unique display of patriotism, has responded to the special needs of the soldiers and their families during such emergencies, and specifically during mobilization for Desert Shield Storm. Now, therefore, I, Major General T. Eston Marchant, the Adjutant General of South Carolina, do hereby proclaim the community of Allendale to be a Palmetto Patriot community for its distinguished support to its citizen soldiers and their families. Given under my hand this 18th day of May in the year of our Lord, 1991, T. Eston Marchant, Major General, the Adjutant General. On behalf of the Adjutant General, I am privileged to present this first ever Palmetto Patriot Community Award to the people of Allendale, South Carolina. Appropriate items for display will be presented also at another time.
You want him to shake your hand? On behalf of the people of Allendale, County, I would like to accept this award. It shows our pride, our patriotism, and you all did it. Thanks for being part of this organization.
Thank you, Ms. Georgia Quinlan. And since she's getting the awards here for Allendale County, I would like to take this opportunity. Most of you who today either have heard or have had the pleasure of meeting Georgia Quinlan. Georgia is the director of the Allendale Downtown Development Association, and of course her tireless efforts into the community and its citizens never cease to amaze most of us. Let me tell you, this lady has done quite a job, and we were talking about the mother of all celebrations. She is the mother of all celebrations, and we want to say thanks to Georgia for a job well done from Lisa and Sue and the committee from the Downtown Development. Thank you. I've got a letter to read from Governor Carroll Campbell. On behalf of the state of South Carolina, I am pleased to extend greetings to all who have gathered to honor the men and women serving our country in the Middle East as part of Operation Desert Storm. Americans were first to answer the call to arms as it sounded around the world to face the challenge of an oppressive leader. The United States of America has pledged through its posture of international brotherhood to oppose tyranny. Our support of the young men and women who find themselves in harm's way should be as unwavering as our dedication to the ideals of freedom for all mankind. The sacrifices on the sands of Arabia must not be made in vain. Your participation in this demonstration of solidarity today will leave an indelible impression not only on our troops but on all of those who have threatened the stability of the global community. Please be assured of my strongest support and know that my prayers are offered with an abiding hope for a safe return of all those who have steadfastly opposed this threat to international harmony. Signed, Carroll A. Campbell, Jr., Governor. At this time, we'd like to have the mother of all preachers, Mr. Britt Baldwin, come forward with the invocation from the Allendale Baptist Church.
Let us have a word of prayer this morning. Would you bow with me, please? Oh, Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning with praise, Lord. We've been petitioning you for so long while our troops were gone. And we come to you this morning thanking you, God, that you brought them home safe to us. We know that your hand and your will has been in our country. We thank you, Lord, for these men and these women who represented Allendale in this county. Father, we thank you for their families who've loved and cared and been there while they've been gone. We ask, Lord, blessing upon each family and each member of this service. Father, we thank you for a community that serves you and gives you glory in all things. Praise the name of God, Lord, and we thank you for these troops in your Son's name. Amen.
Thank you, Britt. At this time, I'd like to introduce some of the dignitaries who are with us today. And on the platform, of course, our honored guest also. Let me get the papers here. Of course, we have the Honorable Mayor Holmes, Mayor of Allendale. Honorable Mayor Coyne of Fairfax. Our very popular Congressman, Butler Derrick. We're proud to have Colonel Joseph Nixon, Deputy Brigadier Commander of the 228th Signal Brigade. Lieutenant Colonel Phil Martin, U.S. Mobilization Center, Fort Stewart, and his lovely wife, Grace. Lieutenant Colonel Butch Massa, Commander of the 105th Signal Battalion. And of course, you met Chaplain Fulmer, the Adjutant General, Office, South Carolina. And now two very important gentlemen, Representative Joe Wilder and Representative Tom Rose. And we're happy to have you gentlemen and ladies with us here today as we celebrate this great occasion. How can I forget Lisa? She's going to lead us in the pledge and the national anthem. This is Lisa Wicker, the mother of all parades. Lisa was responsible for the fine parade, she and Susan Whitaker, and they did a great job, so she deserves a great hand. At this time, we'd like for you to take your hat off. We're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance and the national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
remain standing for the national anthem. At this time, it takes great pleasure for me to welcome to the podium the gentleman who is mayor of the town that just received General Marchand's first Patriotic Community Award, Mayor Holmes.
Thank you, Carl. My fellow citizens, friends of the Allendale community, it is indeed a great day in the Allendale community, and we thank God for this day. About 41 years ago, President Truman consolidated the various military celebration into one day of celebration. He combined the Army, Air Force, and Navy Day into the Armed Forces Day. And May the 18th has been set aside for the celebration and honor of all military personnel. And it gives us a warm feeling to have participated in a recent defense of our country. The Desert Storm operation has been very successful. So we're here today to celebrate all those that have participated in that war, not only that war, but all other wars in behalf of the United States. We have a resolution signed by the Mayor and City Council of Allendale, and I'd like to read that resolution. A resolution in support of American Armed Forces past and present, and especially those of Operation Desert Storm. Whereas the town of Allendale, prior to and after becoming the county seat for Allendale County, has a long and proud history of its citizens offering their services to the United States Armed Forces. Whereas the 265th National Guard Unit, a water purification unit based in the town of Allendale, was one of the first National Guard unit deployed to the Persian Gulf and accomplished their mission as part of Operation Desert Storm. Whereas the 264th, the National Guard unit, a firefighting base in the town of Allendale, was deployed to the Persian Gulf and accomplished their mission as part of Operation Desert Storm. Whereas a number of citizens from the town of Allendale and surrounding counties served in reserve units, and the regular military were deployed to the Persian Gulf and accomplished their mission as part of Operation Desert Storm. Whereas the town of Allendale Council salutes and recognizes all the men and women of Allendale and Allendale County who have served the United States on the battlefields on Armed Forces Day and the celebration on Saturday, May the 18th, 1991. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Council of the town of Allendale that the town of Allendale enthusiastically welcomes those that have to return from Operation Desert Storm and actually wait the safe return of those yet to return. Signed by Mayor Holmes and City Council of the town of Allendale. God bless you, Allendale. God bless South Carolina, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Holmes. I'd like to remind you, we have T-shirts over here south of the crowd, okay? See the lady waving the arm and the big guy over there? And they're selling T-shirts. They must have any size over there, because I guarantee they got one big one over there. But you can buy a T-shirt right over there. It's one of a kind, registered, signed by Georgia Quinlan. The T-shirts? No, oh, excuse me. Okay, this time we've got a combined effort by all the churches in Allendale County, and as a choir, they've gotten together for this special occasion, and at this time we want them to entertain you, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, it is my pleasure. Well, first, we got a real pleasure here in just a moment. Right now, I want to read a letter. There are some individuals who live in Allendale County. I understand have roots in Allendale County. Their name are Tom and Mary Furs, and they live in Saudi Arabia, I believe it is. And some of the boys from the 265th and some of these guys, they said, tell you all in the letter, they loved having you, but next time bring your own groceries. Particularly Ronnie Jackson, and Arnell, and Herman. Said I'd like to eat them out of the house and home. Never have figured out how Ronnie Jackson could hide in the white sands of the desert. Can y'all? I can see Herman over there burrowing down in the sand. It says to the mayor of Allendale, please pass this note on to Sergeant Ronnie Jackson of the 265th. They visited with us in Saudi Arabia, and we went out in the desert to visit with them. They are a fine bunch, and it hurts me to say this, boys. They are a fine bunch, and we know Allendale is very proud of them. Now, here's a message to the 265th Quartermaster Group from Tom and Mary Furs of Saudi Arabia. It said, we heard that Allendale would be celebrating your safe return finally from the Middle East. Even though we are on our way back to Dhahran, or whatever, we wanted to say D-R-D-A-H-H-R-A-N, whatever, you know how those people name places over there. We wanted to say how very happy we were to learn that all of you are home. Finding you guys and visiting with you certainly made our days more tolerable. Hopefully, when we retire at the end of the year, we will come to visit you in Allendale. May God bless you, everyone. Love you, Tom and Mary Furs. Boys, find a free meal even in the desert, won't you? At this time, I am proud to introduce to you Colonel Joseph Mixon, the Deputy Brigade Commander, and he is here with a few remarks. And Colonel Joseph Nixon, it's an honor to have you in Allendale, sir.
Thank you very much.
Somebody lost a solid gold watch. About 8 hands went up. I'll keep it myself. We'll have it here at the podium, okay? Colonel Nixon, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and honored soldiers. Although you have already been welcomed home many times, it is an honor and privilege on behalf of the Governor of South Carolina, Governor Carroll Campbell, and the Adjutant General, Major General T. Eston Marchant, and all of the people of the great state of South Carolina to officially welcome you home and to express to you and to your families our deepest appreciation for your patriotic efforts and success in Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. To my knowledge, Allendale, South Carolina was the only city in the state of South Carolina to have had 2 units deployed in support of Desert Storm. the 264th Engineers, the firefighters, and the 265th Quartermaster, the Water Purification Unit. Both units honored themselves in performing in an outstanding manner. The 265th Quartermaster Detachment was the first unit in the South Carolina Army National Guard to be mobilized. Both units mobilized on a very short notice to Fort Stewart, Georgia, and after a brief training period, they and their equipment were flown directly to Saudi Arabia, where they immediately began performing their mission. The 264th in support of the 11th Aviation Brigade, and in the case of 265th, they provided potable water, the most critical substance required to sustain human life, to the 18th Corps, which includes the 82nd Airborne Division and the 24th Infantry Division. You were ready when needed, you responded when called, and you did your job in an outstanding manner. Your nation is proud of you. Your state is proud of you. The South Carolina National Guard is proud of you. And your patriotic community of Allendale is very proud of you, as evidenced today by what we're seeing. Your families and friends are proud of you, but most importantly, I know that you are proud of yourselves. Not because you were called up or deployed where you were away from your family, your jobs, your normal life and existence, but because you helped your nation and that small nation of Kuwait. You have once again made this uniform something that we are all proud to wear, and being a soldier is one of the most honorable things that a young man or young woman can do. Most of all, you should be proud of yourself, because of the statement that you made when you raised your right hand and joined the National Guard and obligated yourself to your country, promising to protect and defend her against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And you did all of this as a part-time soldier, a National Guardsman, a citizen soldier. And for that, you should be most proud. God bless you, and we salute you.
Thank you, Colonel, and I think we're going to, at this time, present some awards to these gentlemen, and I think that is going to be your chore here as I introduce each one of them as they come on board, led by the famous Ronnie Jackson. This is Sergeant First Class Ronnie D. Jackson, commander of the 265th Quartermaster Detachment, Water for Purification. Welcome aboard. This is Staff Sergeant John Wesley Williams, the 265th Water Purification. John, job well done. Sergeant Don Earl Graham, the 265th Water Purification. Earl. This is Specialist Edward Simmons, 265th Water Purification. Specialist Willie Lee Badger, 265th Water Purification. Specialist Henry Hanson Harris, 265th Water Purification. Specialist Curtis Nathaniel Young, 265th Water Purification. Staff Sergeant Hewley Carroll Coyne, 265th Water Purification. Bobby Yeoman, Specialist, 265th Water Purification. James Mark Rooker, 265th Water Purification. Staff Sergeant Ernest Lee DeLoach, 265th Water Purification. These gentlemen will please stand right down front as soon as they get through shaking hands. We'll have some sore hands after the day's over. And so that there can be somebody can take a picture of you, okay, gentlemen? Then we'll have the 264th chomping at the bit back here. Remember, T-shirts for sale. Get one. Proceeds go to paying for this celebration, okay? After today's ceremonies, the mother of all celebrations, we've got the mother of all barbecues back here at the National Guard Armory, and it's good, and it's only $3 a plate. You can't find Edward Mixon barbecue just anywhere for $3 a plate except here. Some tickets will be available at the door. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the 264th. I don't, was it 264th or 265th? Say it loud. 265th. Right. I just want to see if you're awake. Look mean, boys. Give us a look for Saddam Hussein. Right there. Thank you, gentlemen. And now the 264th. How you do, sir? This is, friends and neighbors, Captain James Smith, commander of the 264th Engineering Detachment Firefighters. The famous Herman Wood is Sergeant First Class Herman T. Wood, 264th Engineer Detaching Firefighters. This is Sergeant Ricky Sabb, 264th Engineer Detachment Firefighters. This is Specialist Friar Jerome D. Fryer, 264th Engineer Detachment Firefighters. Specialist Richard Z. Ziegler, the 3rd, 264th Engineer Detachment. Staff Sergeant Herman Albany Jr., 264th Engineering Detachment. Staff Sergeant Joe Neal Horton, 264th Engineer Detachment. Specialist Michael G. Campbell, of course, 264th Engineer Detachment. And here's Specialist Leroy Green of the 264th Engineer Detachment. Staff Sergeant Larry Roberts, 264th Engineers. And Sergeant James E. Fields, 264th. And Sergeant Bill Moody, 264th Engineer Detachment. Here's old Mac Lawton. Here's Sergeant Malcolm Lawton II, 264th Engineer Detachment. David C. Sandy, Specialist. Here's Malcolm Harder, Jeff, Staff Sergeant, 264th. And Rick D. Edwards, Specialist of the 264th. Specialist Richard Corley of the 264th. There's the famous Arnell, ate all those people's food. Arnell Keir, Staff Sergeant, 264th Engineers. There he is. Brookie Priesthood Jr., Staff Sergeant, 264th, old Brookie. And look at here, a lady. Specialist Patricia Smokes, 815th Personnel Service Company of Orangeburg. Here's Sergeant Ethel Smalls, 382nd Field Hospital, Augusta, Georgia. She's from Sycamore. Specialist Ramona B. Sabb, 382nd Field Hospital, Augusta, Georgia, from Allendale. Specialist Mamie Coyne, 382nd Field Hospital of Augusta. Here's Specialist Anthony R. Young, 382nd Field Hospital in Augusta, Georgia. Specialist Willie DeLoe, 382nd Field Hospital, Augusta, Georgia. Specialist Rodell Rice, 382nd Field Hospital, Fort Gordon, Rodell from Fairfax. A naval officer. Petty Officer, 3rd Class, Marlon Thomas, electrician on board the guided missile destroyer, USS WMV Pratt. This is Airman 1st Class, Mark Lott, 834th Civil Engineering Squadron, Hobart, Florida, United States Air Force. And Lee Mew, United States Marine Corps, Beaufort, South Carolina. We got a full house. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the 264th. We'll let them stand there and bask in the photographers' flash cameras. There used to be flash cameras, no more. They're getting their pictures taken. Okay, we were supposed to tell that we had some extra seating up here, but I think that's already been taken care of. I think folks saw that we had some extra seating. It's nice and cool today, isn't it? Is it cooler here in Saudi Arabia? Really? Huh? Hot. Is it hotter than Saudi Arabia? It's kind of hot over there. I bet you boys won't go to the beach for 100 years, will you? Don't want to see any more sand. They tell me Arnell rode a camel while he was over there. Did he? Ronnie Jackson said there was a 3-hump camel coming across the desert, and it was Arnell down in between 2 humps. You couldn't see. You did a good job, Arnell. We're proud of you, even if you did spend all your time riding a camel. We've got a special part of the program coming up. In just a little bit, you might hear them. But while we're waiting on them, we would like to introduce to you Erwin Gardner, an Allendale gentleman who is going to sing a song called Proud to be American. And then I'm going to read some names of some folks who are still over there serving who are not able to be with us today. Erwin, how are you today?
I'm all right, thank you.
I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. Hey, and I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, there's a pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say, hey, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA, the United States of America. God bless the USA.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. I'd like to read you some names now, some folks who are still in the Gulf but can't be here. We've got Specialist Larry Nero Priester, Army Reserves of Allendale. Sergeant Leroy Priester, Army Reserves of Sycamore. Specialist Ernest Priester, Army Reserves, Fairfax. Specialist James Adam Troy of the Army Reserve in Allendale. Specialist Michael Gregory of the Army Reserve of Fairfax. Specialist Vincent Patterson, Army Reserve, Appleton. PFC Marcy Morrell of the Army Reserve, Allendale. Naaman Yeoman Sergeant of the Army Reserves in Allendale. Let's see, PFC Mary Harrison, Army Reserves, Fairfax. Michael Mew, Army Reserves from Fairfax. Leon Priester, Army Reserves from Barnwell. David Wright, Army Reserve of Barnwell. PFC Antonio Frederick of Allendale. Specialist Colette Triplett of Allendale. Specialist Larry Triplett of Allendale. Lance Corporal Barry Thames of Fairfax. And Private Jacob Prince, Army Reserves of Fairfax. And Private First Class Joseph Bechtold of the United States Army from Williston. These individuals are still over there in the desert. Wanted you to be knowing that, okay? Okay, we're going to have, right now, before I tell you about an elementary class that's with us, Lisa Wicker, you've got an announcement to make.
George is going to hold that for me. Okay. In a few minutes, we will have a flyover of the C-141 Starlifter. It is piloted by Captain James M. Phillips of Fairfax, South Carolina.
Captain Jim Phillips. Had a tough time waving those big wings, didn't he?
Jim was called to active duty on September the 9th, 1990 to serve in Operation Desert Shield and Storm. To date, he has made 28 trips to Saudi Arabia transporting troops and equipment. On June the 15th, he will be released from active duty and returned to reserve status where he will fly for Federal Express. The C-141 will hold 200 combat-ready troops and 22,000 gallons of fuel. It weighs 325,000 pounds and has a speed range of 130 to 600 miles per hour. It is responsible for transporting the majority of personnel and equipment to and from the Persian Gulf, which was the largest airlift in history. At this time, we would like to thank Captain Phillips for his service in this demonstration and to call his father, Mr. Jack Phillips, up to the stage, since Jim is in the air, to collect his memento. I would also like to recognize Captain Phillips' grandmother, Mrs. Blanche Armstrong, who is seated right there. I wanted to tell you something. Somebody came up to me last week and said, "This is a first." And I said, "What?" And she said, "This is the first time Jim Phillips has had permission to buzz Allendale."
Jack, how you doing?
He's going to be buzzing in fast this time.
Are you proud of him?
I'm very proud of him.
Thank you, Jack. He'll be back in just a minute, folks. Going to land right out there, so y'all back off a little bit. Captain Jim Phillips. There was a possibility that some F-16s were to fly over, but maybe they're not coming. They had, I think, federal inspection, weren't they, Mr. Joe? Yeah, federal inspection. You know how those things go. They get inspected all the time. I got to recognize, as I don't have to, but it's an honor to recognize a lady down in Hampton at the elementary school, the teacher Black, who put together a pen pal program to write all these gentlemen over in the Persian Gulf. And at this time, would all the pen pal kids and Mrs. Black raise their hand, make some noise out there. This is a celebration. What? Mrs. Blanche. Mrs. Platts. Well, I thought so, but she told me Mrs. Black. Anyway, y'all wrote all these guys? Did they write you back? Yeah, that's nice. Well, y'all did a good job. I bet things like this ought to help you get through today, didn't it, boys? Huh? Yeah, that did. Hey, I got to recognize the families. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let a gentleman that we're all proud of, too. His name is Congressman Butler Derrick, and he's with us today, and he's going to recognize families, and also Lieutenant Colonel Matha is here with us. So I guess these gentlemen are to come over here and recognize some families. Oh, the plane, we're waiting on the plane to return. It takes a great big area to turn this plane around. I want to remind you tonight at the Allendale County Country Club, there's going to be a big reception and a dance, okay? Here it comes. big airplane. You boys ready to ride another one of those? No. Let me tell you about the celebration and the dance tonight, and everybody's invited out at the Allendale County Country Club. That starts what time? About 8 o'clock? At 8 o'clock, okay? Don't forget that. And also the barbecue. It's going to be the mother of all receptions out there. I wanted you to know that. At this time, I'm proud to announce and introduce to you a gentleman that everybody already knows in this area. He's been our congressman for quite a while. Looks like he's going to be our congressman right on down the road, and I'm happy to say that. This is Congressman Butler Derrick, along with Lieutenant Colonel Massa.
I kind of lost my voice. It's nice to be here with the dog of all dogs, Big Dog. Georgia, I want to know, Lisa, how did you know that plane was coming just when you stood up here? The mayors of Fairfax and mayor of Allendale and our state representatives, Wildland Rhodes, it's nice to be with you. It's nice to have you guys home. I was over in Saudi Arabia back in December this year, and out there on that desert. And I can tell you, it's hot here today, but it's hotter out on that desert. And not only that is it hot, but you got that sand that's like dust that gets in you all the time. So we're glad to have you back, and I can tell you, I was over there long enough to know I didn't want to stay over there any longer. And we're glad to have the 264th and the 265th back. You know, I'm not going to give my normal 2-hour speech. I'm going to cut this short because I can't talk this morning. But we are very proud to have you home. And you know, it's a tradition in our part of the country that we serve in time of war. We don't seek it, but when it comes, we're there. South Carolinians, a higher percentage of practically any other state, volunteer for the armed services. And I'm especially proud of the National Guard because as far as I'm concerned, you are our first line of defense. And I think they should have sent more of you over there. But it's nice to be in Allendale, and I won't try to ruin my voice any further, but the dog of all dogs, Big Dog, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Congressman. Sorry about your voice. I know how you congressmen make all those speeches all day and all night up here in Washington. This is Lieutenant Colonel Massa. Lieutenant Colonel, good to have you with us.
I'd like to do a little bit to recognize the families that supported the troops over there. I know we had a lot of community support, we had a lot of friends support, but one of the critical things for troops is their family back home. And there were several things that led up to these family associations that we've developed through the South Carolina National Guard. And it was through the leadership of General Marchant in guiding these operations and providing us some direction. And that led to give us support both at the Army level and the individual unit level. And I'd like to make sure that you're aware that General Marchant was very critical in organizing these efforts. And then the individual soldiers and their families carried it from there to develop an organization at each armory throughout the whole state to support troops that either weren't mobilized or the possibility of troops that could be mobilized. And I'd like to recognize some key people here in Allendale in your community that really led this organization for the family support group that was here in Allendale. And that's Mrs. Priester and Mrs. Harris. And are they here? And I hope they are here. And if you'd stand up, and I think we owe these ladies a round of applause. I'd like to make a few brief comments because it is rather warm today and we can get on with the other business of the program. Is that one of the key elements that the National Guard exhibited was going as a unit and coming back as a unit. And fortunately, all of our soldiers from Allendale came back as a unit, just as they had gone, and you can see them all here today. And also, a tie with that is these people have drilled and known each other for a long period of time. And that allowed them to develop some relationships and also their families to develop a relationship. This relationship extended into the community. As you can see today, the support of the community, the businesses of Allendale have given, and also the other communities surrounding Allendale. But in closing, I'd really like you all to give a very, very sound round of applause and appreciation for the real families of the soldiers and representatives in Saudi Arabia and in Kuwait And I believe these families sitting over here, you can probably see them with the T-shirts, either the 264th or the 265th. And we're very proud of them. As the battalion commander for both those units, I'm proud of them and their families.
Thank you, Colonel.
Me again. Last August, when Allendale's 265th deployed for Fort Stewart to prepare to go to Saudi Arabia, there were two gentlemen that joined them. They are from the Associated Press, and I'd like them to come forward, Mr. Fred Bayless and Mr. Rick Feld. We would like to recognize them for the story of the 265th that they brought back home to us and took across this country of ours. For their dedication to Allendale County and the Downtown Development Association, we'd like to say thank you, and we'd like to make these awards. I'll read these awards. Presented to Fred Bayless in recognition of outstanding service, Operation Desert Storm, May 18, 1991, Allendale, South Carolina, Allendale Downtown Development Association. Congratulations, Fred. Presented to Rick Feld in recognition of outstanding service, Operation Desert Storm, May 18, 1991, from Allendale, South Carolina, and the Allendale Downtown Development Association. Again, we say thank you for taking the story of our people across this nation of ours.
Yeah, we're ready. Are you ready? Let's see. Okay, thank you, Miss Georgia Quinlan. I guess we're getting down to appreciating everybody, right? Is that where we are at this point? I want to do something. I was looking out through the crowd just a minute ago. How many gentlemen here from World War II? Raise your hand. World War II. How many of you here from World War I? I hate to ask this. Anybody here from World War I? Joe Wilder, okay. Okay, how about, is anybody here from the Korean conflict? Raise your hand. There's some gentlemen over here, back in here. Howdy. That's normal. How about the Vietnam conflict? Vietnam War. We got a lot of them here, right? We appreciate you guys too, by the way. And of course we know how many is here from the last little episode we had over there with the old camels and things and stuff. Showed that old boy, didn't we? Huh? Sure did. Go get him, boys. We want to appreciate everybody coming out. I know it took a lot of hard work to do this. I'm not kidding you. Georgia Quinlan and Lisa and Susan and all the merchants in town and all the citizens in town have been behind our 264th and 265th in the United States of America since day one. And I hope everybody out there is proud of it. We do appreciate you coming out today to show your support. We want you to know that there is a very fine barbecue that you can partake of right after this, right over here at the National Guard Armory. It's only $3, and then I would like the boys down here in the National Guard to know, and our dignitaries, that they get to be first in line. We're going to have barbecued camel, boys. Now, it's barbecued pork. Edward Mixon is fixing it. Do what? The tickets are in the box where? Sir? MREs, okay. The tickets, gentlemen, are in some boxes, in the boxes that you're now carrying. So those little yellow things are tickets. Allendale and Fairfax and the whole community of Allendale County. I want to thank you folks for coming. We want to thank everybody, including our dignitaries, for being here and made it possible for this great show today. I want you to enjoy the barbecue, the mother of all barbecues. I want you to enjoy the mother of all dances tonight and have a good time while you're here. And thanks for coming. Bye-bye. By the way, dress for the dance tonight is casual. You can come in your fatigues, your camel skin coats, or whatever. Sing along with the band now as we get ready.
Oh, man.
And I'm proud to be an American. God bless the USA. God bless the USA. If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. Hey, and I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, there's a pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say, hey, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, there's a pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say, hey, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA, the United States of America.